What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to Park to Prem. It's episode number 56 here at Town Town. Oh, I don't know how to feel about this decision. This might be the greatest decision or the worst decision in the world, and I don't know where I lie on it. I had a bid that I accepted from Manchester United. As you saw at the end of, or towards the end of last episode, we had a possible board takeover going on. I was kind of thinking about that and the fact our finances were quite in the red. Manchester United came in, they slapped £5.5 million down on the table with a 50% of next sale clause, and he'd be loaned back to us to the end of the year, and I accepted it originally. The takeover collapsed, so Alexander is still here, at least right now, and I just decided I don't want to sell him anymore. I don't know how to feel. This could be an awful mistake or this could be a stroke of genius. I'll explain the rationale behind my decision. Smoljo is incredible. He's incredible for us right now. He's obviously an amazing starting keeper. He has future Premier League potential. You look at the list of clubs who have been interested in him. We've had bids from Leicester, Manchester United, some of the teams here who are interested. There are so many Premier League teams looking at him. He started off as a free agent in-game, generated not at a club, which means he could have really, really high potential because he's not limited by the club he generated at or, any of the facilities. It's just enough Croatia's national ranking. Croatia's quite good at developing footballers, as it turns out. He's developed so much in his time at the club. He's homegrown at the end of the year. He's got a contract that lasts another 6.5 years. I just don't have a reason to sell him other than the finances, which I have to just put my faith in Alexander. I'm sticking within his budget. He's still here at the club. The previous takeover was just shut down. And I really, really like this guy, and maybe personal bias comes into it. He's got realist personality. He's not complained about wanting to leave. He's actually very happy to be at the club, despite me cancelling an offer at the 11th hour from Manchester United. Let me know, how much would you sell Smoljo for? I feel like it's at a point now where he doesn't really have a price. We would never be able to replace him, I feel like, with a player of his quality. And with him having 6.5 years left on his contract, after 2 promotions, we could be in the Championship asking for £10+ million for him. And the value that he could bring us immediately prior to that, even if I do eventually have to sell him, I feel like far outweighs the money we could get. Let me know your thoughts. I don't know if this is the right decision. I'm sat worrying about it now. I sat with the option to accept or decline this offer. I cancelled it, and I sat there for a good 15 minutes, umming and ahhing and weighing it up, and I still don't know if I've made the right decision. We have made one sale, however. Let's talk about it. It's a big sale as well, actually. Alex Lindsay, a player we signed from Scarborough a few years ago now for £1,200. Didn't play for us at all this year. Was in the first team, was kind of the backup of all backups in the wide area. And then AFC Wimbledon in League One came along and went, yeah, we'll give you £110,000 for him. So we've let him go. I feel like £110,000 is a pretty decent sum of money. In terms of our finances, it doesn't really solve a great deal. I'm just hoping that Alexander is going to dig his hand into his pocket and pull out a big wad of cash still for us, being a tycoon. I mean, we've been relying on that a lot lately as one of the teams with the highest wages in the league. But yeah, the Alex sale, it makes sense. He isn't playing regularly for us. He's an okay player, got some potential. I was not ever anticipating we would get as much as £110,000 for him. So I'm very, very happy. If I'm not mistaken as well, it has a 50% sell-on clause. So if he ever gets sold, we will make 50% of any future profit. So that's, covering our bases in case he explodes into some incredible talent. Although already aged 22, unless he's going to be a Jamie Vardy, that feels a little unlikely. You can see here it is the 27th of January. We've not really been delving into the transfer market ourselves, although we could still do that with a little bit of time left. You can see I've been scouting a lot of players, and all our scouts out on assignment have been doing their thing. There is one further player who I am potentially looking to sign, and it's this guy, Melvin Ericart. He's a Frenchman who's generated as a free agent. He's capped for the French under-20s team. And if you're wondering, how did you find out about him, Jack? He has the same agent as the other youngster, Bauman, who you might remember we signed a couple of episodes ago as one for the future. Maybe one of these will be the next Smoljo. That's kind of my hope and dream when it comes to these young players we've been signing. So they've got some potential, allegedly, of course, until they join the club and actually get work permits. It's all a little up in the air still, but I'm remaining optimistic. Shvetsov, he looks quite good. He's been scoring goals for fun for our youth team. Slightly illegitimately, it feels like, without a work permit, but we're not going to complain. The trialist doing his thing. And Des has played a few games as well, which I still wish I could train him not to play centre-back, because he can't jump, he's just not good in the air. Anyway, since you were last here, we've played 4 games in all, and yeah, it's not been good. We've not kept a clean sheet since Bristol Rovers at the start of December, when we beat them away from home in the FA Cup. Today we are going to be taking on Bradford, and we're also going to do the game against Stockport as a live com doubleheader. 4 games since the Arsenal game last time out. We started off with a draw against Peterborough. They took the lead in the 2nd minute. Needham was then sent off, you naughty, naughty boy. And, well, at that point, you think a goal down, a man down at half-time, the game's gone. It hadn't gone. We actually pulled ahead in this game. Mampala from the penalty spot, and then Andre Dazelle getting his first league goal at the club. Unfortunately, we switched slightly more conservatively and did end up conceding. They made that extra man count. Luis Fernandez with the goal. 2-2 though. I feel like when you consider we played half the game down a man, not a bad little performance in the end. The next match we had against Morecambe. This was a really important game for us, and another game where we did get a sending off, although it came a little later. They got off to a good start right at the end of the first half, got their noses ahead from a set piece, and well, Morecambe really made the most of their set pieces. They scored from the penalty spot in the 51st minute. We then got a goal ourselves through Michael Jacobs, a nice little solo effort, and then Keelan O'Connell, who'd scored from the penalty spot prior, crushed all my hopes, dreams and aspirations with a thunderous effort from range. The camera barely kept up. Foster Kasky, help me, got sent off. And then Zach Gannon got us a late goal. You thought maybe the comeback's on. It didn't amount to anything. Funnily enough, when you're getting players sent off left, right and centre, football becomes a lot more difficult. The next game we had was against Burton Albion, another team who previously were going very strong in the league. Morecambe and Burton, 2 teams definitely fighting it out in the playoffs. This time we were able to salvage a draw. That was via Leighton Stewart from the penalty spot. And then in our most recent game, we took on Stevenage, and it was Stewart to the rescue again with a brace, but not before they took the lead. Against the run of play, we had a load of chances in the first half of this game, didn't take them. They hit us on the break, and you kind of slump into your chair and wonder with 25 minutes left, is it going to be one of those kind of games? But no, Leighton Stewart with 2 goals in 4 minutes to the rescue. And it's been his goals as of late that seem to have been getting us some very, very crucial results. So a good result here. The only win in this run of 4 games, though, and the fact we had to come from behind to get it is a tiny bit concerning. You can see here Stewart with 12 league goals now, which I feel like is pretty good when you consider the leagues which he's rised through with the club. The fact that he's continuing to do it at this level, 5 tiers higher than when he started, is a mean little feat. If you were just wondering about the League 2 league table situation, despite our incredibly patchy form, we are still in 2nd place. Bradford, who we take on today, have started to pull away a little bit. They are unbeaten in their last 5 games. Chesterfield trail us by 1 point, Crewe by 2 points, and Morecambe, who, as you saw before, we slipped up against, sit 6 points behind us and definitely breathing down our necks. There was at one point a little bit of a gap, kind of a top 4 emerging. It would be fair to say that between ourselves, Chesterfield, Crewe and Bradford, we've all had a bit of an iffy patch recently, and so the teams trailing behind us have started to climb up. It's weird, actually. There's no team who's been in some crazy form, one team who's dominated the league. It's been very kind of here, there and everywhere. Interestingly enough, Taylor Richards, Crewe's star man, has moved to Sheffield Wednesday in the transfer window. Crewe, one of our big rivals, he was a big impact player for them. 14 league goals, and they let him go. And I actually noticed Crewe did sell a few other players. They were predicted to win the league, obviously struggling a little bit to start things. You can see they sold Richards, who was their top goal scorer, and they also sold their starting goalkeeper, Cameron Pring. So with those sales happening, that leaves them a little bit weaker, and I do hope that that will play into our advantage. Again, perhaps another reason not to sell Smolio is the fact that now he is labelled as the best goalkeeper in the league. You love to see it, don't you? You can see here, listed as the key player in the entire division. Our next highest player, for comparison, is Paul Embleton, who is still on loan from Barnsley. I would quite like to sign this guy permanently. I feel like he's done a reasonably good job at 20 years old, consistent, little bit of potential to improve, could be a championship quality player. I don't know. Maybe we could make that happen, although it might cost us a hefty sum But taking on Bradford today, at least in this first match, is going to be big. Of course, the second game that we've got is going to be against Stockport County, who have been in miserable form. So I'm hoping for at least one win from these two games, but our form's not been great either, and defensively we've not been good enough. As a reaction to that, I've decided to change our wing-backs from attacking duty to support duty. You'll also notice that the Needham experiment of playing him at box-to-box midfielder has been abandoned. We have switched him back to a ball-winning midfielder on defend. It's easy to look at that run of results and go, wow, things really aren't going that well. But when you look at the injuries and suspensions we've had, there's reason for it. Liam Coyle's been out suspended. Deshaun Bernard's been injured. Kumwenda's been injured. Alexis Sanchez still trying to come back to full fitness. He's struggling after his injury. Ballow's out for up to 4 weeks. That's a big, big miss for us. And there has been a few other players injured. Whilst we've not had, a load of injuries, it's just been lots of kind of slightly impactful ones. You can see here Deshaun Bernard, Ballow, McMenamin, our second choice goalkeeper, out for a little while. I don't feel like this guy gets enough love, but he's actually done okay for us. There was one game he played earlier in the year where Smolyo was on international duty, doing a Mr. International. In that game, McMenamin did okay. He only conceded one, although he was only forced to make 2 other saves. But the injuries have crept in a little bit. Players getting suspended as well due to all the yellow cards and red cards we're accumulating is definitely a concern. Actually, if we just look at the team detailed statistics here, I'm curious to see where we rank in terms of ill discipline, because I imagine we're up there. Where is discipline? It's got to be here somewhere, right? The most cards? Is there like a team award for cards? There's got to be, surely. I mean, fouls made, yeah, third highest there. I feel like I'm just going blind and I can't see the obvious card option here. Oh, here you go. Yellow cards, 75 for us. Red cards, we've had 2 actually. So we're not doing that well, although those 2 have come in the last month. So we're trying to catch up, but maybe our pressing game is catching up with us a little bit. There is a debate certainly to say maybe we could just tone things down a little bit when we're not in possession. Anyway, in terms of the team for today's game, mostly full strength. Younger comes in for the suspended Embleton at centre-back. Really feel like, Younger has proven his calibre at this level. In the attacking midfielder positions, a little bit of an experiment today. We're going to play Forster Kasky here and see what he can do. I have looked to move him on during the transfer window, but teams put off by the fact he's on 350,000 again. No, £3,500. That is, comfortably one of the highest earners at our club. As I mentioned last episode, Mampala's been complaining about lack of first-team football, but he's not been playing very well, so I'm going to stick with Stewart up front. The rest of the team, though, what you'd come to expect. Hopefully Jacobs can continue to do well. He's had some real bright spark moments where he's taken a game by the scruff of his neck and been a difference maker this year. We need more of that from him. I was hoping for more of that from him, and especially in a game like this, it's against Bradford, a big game. Hopefully we can get a good result here. But they are top of the league for a reason. They're not going to be pushovers by any means. As I said, this is going to be the first of 2 games we do today. Stockport follows in less than a week's time. I can't remember if this is the midweek game or the next game's the midweek one. But either way, we're coming through that busy time of the year where you have games left, right and centre over kind of the December and January period. If we can get a draw here, I would be relatively happy with that. But we need to start winning. We've been, drawing and losing too many. And, well, DKM, that's what we need more of. That's only his 6th goal of the year. A player who stepped up the last couple of years. I was really confident, maybe too confident in the fact he would step up for this level. And he hasn't quite managed it. But maybe the second half of the season is going to be a different story for him. Lovely finish there on his left foot. Tucks it into the bottom corner. And away from home, we take an early lead in a game that has started off very, very even here. Rush across his own 6-yard box. I do not like that. That's one of the golden rules you're taught when you play football as a kid. Never across your own line. The other rule you get told is give it to Stewart. And then he misses it. Unless you don't have a Stewart in your team, in which case just give it to your other best player. But if you have a player called Stewart, he was always your best player in your team. It's a fact. I mean, here he is again. Speaking of the devil. Keeps it alive, whips it in, highlight ends. I look like a mug. Excellent. The body language for Bradford is not good. They are not impressed with their manager's little talk. Our team's not been impressed by mine either, to be fair. I've noticed this season, that demand more as a team talk seems a lot less effective than it had been in previous years. I wonder if that's to do with kind of team status demanding more when you are one of the best teams in the league. Perhaps that has a more consistently good effect. This year it's definitely been a little bit more hit and miss. Maybe if we just go with a show some passion. No one likes my talks anymore. I would not be a good motivational speaker. Leighton Stewart's had an absolute Western supermare. Let's bring in Mampala for him. Jacobs hasn't played great out on the right, but neither has either of our kind of wing backs, which is where I might want to change things. Rush is nervous. That makes me nervous. I'm not going to rush into any changes, actually. See what I did there. Rush into... Okay, let's end this. Corner, whipped in. Mampala's traditionally very good in the box in these kind of situations. Where is he? Pick him out. DKM's there again. Oh, he's headed it over this time. Not a bad little effort at the back post. Nodded it just over the crossbar. But, hey, if it remains 1-0, I will stay happy. I'm quite happy for us to win every game 1-0 if it means that we'll get promoted this year. This is a crucial game for us, though. It's not been a game full of goals and full of highlights. It's been a bit cagey in truth, but there could be a chance here. Mampala, fresh off the bench. Can he finish it? No, the Bradford keeper keeps them in it again. We've had 3 clear-cut chances, 2 half chances, significantly more shots and opportunities on the whole. If we don't go on to win this game, we will only have ourselves to blame for some of these opportunities that we have missed. And while they have a set piece here, Charles hits it. Oh my word, that hit the roof of the net and went over. A warning shot perhaps in our direction. I'm going to change things here, but I'm going to take off WorkTheSpace, who is suspended, move Jacobs into the middle, and move Shuttleworth out onto the right. Shuttleworth, along with DKM and along with a few other slightly longer serving players, haven't really made the step up in the attacking midfielder positions this year, although I feel like our attacking midfielders on the whole have just been a little disappointing, but I don't know. I was hoping one of our kind of players from last year in the attacking midfield department would be a game changer. As Gannon has a chance. Did Smolio save that? Of course he did. He's worth £5.5 million to Manchester United. He stops those for breakfast. But no, I was hoping that one of our attacking midfielders would step up. And I don't know if it's because of the system we've switched to. I don't know if it's just because we've gone up a new level. And, they're not quite good enough. But just on the whole, we've lacked a little bit of a creative spark, perhaps, in the midfield. And, well, we keep a clean sheet for the first time in 2 months against the team who are top of the league away from home. Given how poor our away form is, that result cannot be underestimated. A good little win. Chesterfield lost as well, so that really plays into our favour. They slipped up against 11th placed Grimsby. Did Morecambe play? They lost as well. You can see it in Macclesfield. So, lots of results going in our favour. And that's just really, really good stuff. Anyway, we've got one more game that we're going to do today. It's going to be against Stockport. My throat is still very, very sore. I'm still suffering, everyone. Let's get to it. 31st of January. Let's end the month on a high, shall we? So, folks, it is game day, the last day of January, and the last day of the transfer window as well. So, I don't think we're going to be doing any last-minute dealings. You can see here, however, Crewe and Bradford are playing one another. I didn't even realise this. So, yes, whilst we have beaten Bradford, now it's down to third-placed Crewe to show if they can kind of match our performance. I'm secretly kind of hoping they lose and we can win today. That would pull the points ahead of Crewe to 5, and that would start to give us that little bit of breathing room that we've been craving over the kind of pack behind us, who have, well, slowly but surely been creeping up behind us. And, well, going into today's game, the good news is no new injuries to speak of, which I guess is a bit of a bonus. Embleton as well back from his suspension, so he can come back into the team. I'm sorry, Ollie Younger, you can go and have a rest. In terms of the team on the whole, we're slowly but surely now getting back to full fitness. I'm wondering if I want to play WorkTheSpace to start this game. I think I do. He's a weird player. He's been making a lot of money. And when you compare him to other players in our team, you'd say he's massively overpaid. Why would you keep him? He's been putting in some okay performances. And last game, he was one of the standout performers, playing him at centre attack in mid. So let's just try it again, shall we? If the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and hoping for different results, I don't know what happens if you do the same thing again and hope for the same result. But it was perhaps insanity to begin with. I don't even know. I'm asking the questions which no one has ever dared ask. And, well, that question is, can we beat Stockport? Let's be honest, we need to win here. We want to keep our unbeaten run at home in the league going. We have not lost at home this year, if I'm not mistaken. And this is the team we're going with. So, no great changes, really. Embleton coming in, but besides that, We're going to stick with a team which I think showed some pretty good signs against Bradford. Of course, as I mentioned, we changed the wing-backs back to support from being on attacking, and we kept a clean sheet. And I refuse to believe that that is a coincidence, and we will hope that, well, lightning can strike twice here and we can get a good result against them. Stockport, of course, promoted with us last year. They currently sit, I think, in around mid-table, maybe slightly into the top half. Either way, they're not going to be pushovers, and if I'm not mistaken, they beat us earlier on in the year away from home. So I want to do one over on them. I don't want them to get 2 results in us in a row. They beat us 3-1 when we last met. And you can see here Chesterfield, who I believe are in 4th, winning their game against Port Vale, which, well, I don't know, it cranks the heat up just a little bit on us. That pressure is mounting. We need to get a result here. We've been lucky in the sense that when we've slipped up in the last month or two, lots of teams around us have also slipped up. We've not necessarily been punished for our slip-ups. But 2 wins in a row now, this would be a 3rd if we could get a win here, and then suddenly that momentum feels like it's back. You know, the wind is in our sails, and while it's in Leighton Stewart's sails, as he gets through on goal, unfortunately stopped by the keeper there. A good little stop. It is 0-0 at half-time. They've had 4 bookings in this game. I'm going to tell the players I'm far from pleased. It's almost like they know what to expect at this point. We've had almost 60% of the ball. We've had 6 shots to their 4. They've only had 1 shot on target all game. But coming up to the hour mark here, we can't find a breakthrough. Set piece though, Dazelle whips it in, back post. Stewart, it falls to Michael Jacobs with his yellow boots, of course. Iconic at this point, and he finds the back of the net. Stewart with the assist, and we get a goal ahead just about here in the 60th minute. One other thing I forgot to mention, it's just totally reoccurred to me. New stadium, everyone. I say new stadium, new stand. We've got lots of new seating put in. If I'm not mistaken, the restrictions in League 2 mean that we can't use any of our standing area. I believe actually by League 2's rules, we're actually below the required kind of quality for our current stadium. I think you have to have a minimum of 5,000 fans capacity. I think our stadium holds something like 2,750. We actually lost some capacity adding in seats. It's what you get when you have an old stadium, I guess. Who knows, maybe down the line we'll get a brand spanking new stadium. That's the dream, and well, the dream on today's day is to get a goal ahead against Stockport. You can see here the standing stand, which seems very empty, so I think that plays into my theory. I'm pretty sure there are weird guidelines about being able to, you know, have fans stood up in standing areas in League 2. I think it's the rules that apply to the entire of the Football League. Someone can probably clarify for me. That is a little bit of a concern, by the way, the stadium just being not really up to the standards that we're currently playing at. Anyway, I probably should have made some subs sooner. We'll do them now, why not? I'm busy rambling on about the stadium requirements of League 2, meanwhile the players are on the pitch doing the business. And we are going to get a second win here. If we can now keep a clean sheet with a minute left, we're going to do it. That feels good, doesn't it? 2 clean sheets in a row. Boys, I am very happy with that. That's what we needed. You can see actually Stockport down in 15th. They were higher in the league earlier, so maybe they've gone off the pace a little bit. In that game between the 2 big teams towards the top of the table, where did it finish? Bradford lost again, which means we are now even on points with them, and only goal difference behind them at the top of the table. So that 6-point cushion they had over us has quickly been eliminated, and with 14 games left of the year, I want to start dreaming about winning the league. I do need to remember to look over our shoulders at the fact that Chesterfield are not far behind, 4 points behind us in 4th place. Things could still quite quickly change between now and the end of the year. DKM, getting man of the match feels good though. He's struggled as of late. He's not gone crazy. Obviously 2 good performances in a row now. Maybe he can just get a little bit of confidence into him going into the end of the year. Just to go back to the stadium thing, you can see here our stadium has a capacity of 2,750. Which is odd because I'm pretty sure that's below the requirements for League 2. If we look at the rules here for League 2, I had a look at this before, this is why I remember it. Stadium requirements, minimum stadium seating capacity 2,000, minimum stadium capacity 5,000, and terracing is not permitted. And then if we just look at our stadium, it holds 2,750, but some of it is standing area, which I believe can't be used for certain games. I'm not 100% certain on that, so if anyone knows, let me know. But I know through some of the news items we've had about the stadium, and I don't know if I've still got them, but the actual expansion potential of our current stadium is not particularly crazy. I can't see it here, but basically the stadium can't be expanded much beyond the 5,000 seats which are required. I'm not sure if the requirements are different in League One. This is probably worth planning ahead for. It looks like they've got slightly similar kind of requirements, and in the Championship it's the same as well. So yeah, maybe we don't need to worry about stadium upgrades right away, which is probably for the best, because I don't think we could financially stomach it right now. I don't know, maybe Alexander can just name the stadium after himself or sort out a sponsorship deal with his company. Yeah, that would help, wouldn't it? Then we wouldn't have to worry about financial fair play either, I suppose. But anyway, great little result there. Well, 2 great little results. 2 clean sheets in a row. We've needed those desperately. We have struggled for the last couple of months to string together a few wins. It's our first time we've had 3 wins in a row since, well, back in November. Looking at the games we've got ahead, we've got Lincoln in 17th, Port Vale in 18th, Macclesfield in 19th, Aldershot in 24th, and Grimsby in 10th. I mean, the top 4 of those we should be winning quite handsomely. Beyond that, Grimsby, Mansfield, Rochdale, Tranmere, Fleetwood, and Scunthorpe. I don't know, there's lots of very winnable games, it feels like, here now. You know, we've taken on Bradford, we've taken on Crewe twice as well. We've got Chesterfield on the last day of the season, by the way. That could be a spicy affair. Hopefully it doesn't come down to that point. With 14 games left of the year, I feel like we're in a pretty good spot. And, well, now, with a bit of momentum, let's try and keep it going, shall we, throughout the rest of the year. But anyway, folks, that's going to wrap up everything from me today. I do hope you've enjoyed. Let me know what you make of the Small Yo situation. How much would you sell him for? What would be your price? Name it down in the comments. Let's get some discussion going. I know this is going to be a decision that splits many, many opinions. I guess the biggest bit of good news from all of this is the fact that the chairman didn't interfere and accept the bid without my consulting, which means he must value Small Yo quite highly like I do. Right, I've rambled on for long enough today. My voice is going to give out. I'm going for a rest. I'll see you soon. It's me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I'm out.